I think everybody should know how to cook a nice simple salmon dinner. We're gonna pan fry this on the stove with some butter garlic sauce that is just out of this world. And what goes better than mashed potatoes on this? It just is so delicious, so quick and easy, you're gonna love it. I'm Rockin' Robin, and I'm gonna show you how to do it right after our chef joke. All right, let's start off with chef joke number 1. Number 2 will be a little bit later in the video. Stay tuned for that. All right, where does the salmon go to deposit a check? To the riverbank, of course. So to start off our recipe, we're gonna take some organic gold potatoes. We're gonna peel those and then cut them in half and put them in some water on the stove, in a pot. And we're gonna boil those until they're nice and soft and ready to be mashed, just to get these going before we start cooking our salmon, because salmon cooks up really quick. So here are our ingredients for our salmon recipe. Now first up I have here is 2 pieces of salmon. One is sockeye, the other is king salmon. Can you let me know down in the comments which one is which? I'd like to see if you guys can tell. You want to pat your salmon dry. You want it to be dry so that it will grill up and get a little crispy on the stove and not steam. I am going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil over the salmon. You want to rub it in both sides, and then we'll add some salt, a little bit of pepper, and what I have here is some homemade Italian seasoning, which I have my own video on a blend that I make, but you can use any kind you want. And you just want to sprinkle that over the top. Gives it a nice Italian flavor. And if you want, you can kind of pat it in, make sure that it sticks, and I like to do the other side as well. And some more seasoning. Now that is ready to go. Before I start cooking it though, we're going to cut up some garlic here. So chop up your garlic nice and fine. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. I'm going to check my potatoes before I start cooking the fish and take a fork and stick it in there and make sure that it's tender, that fork goes through nice and easy, and it does. So I'm going to drain the water, and then I'll mash those up with my milk mixture with a little bit of butter in it. And I'm going to heat that up in the microwave for like a minute just so it's warm. And I'm adding warm milk and butter to hot potatoes. And I'm going to add some salt and pepper to this, as potatoes definitely need some salt. I'll cover this and keep it warm. Okay, I'm going to put my pan over medium-high heat. I have a clean plate I'm going to put behind the pan so that when the salmon is done, I'm going to place it back there, and then we'll make our sauce. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to the pan. Let that heat up. My pan's pretty hot, so it's looking good. I'm going to take my salmon that's been seasoned, remember, place it the skin side up. Now what we're going to do is cook this. They're not very thick. No, it's a good 1/2 inch. This one's maybe 3/4 of an inch thick. What we want to see is, and I don't know if you can see it yet, but there's a little opaque line that's going to move up about 1/3 of the way of the thickness of the salmon. And then once it gets to that point, after about 2 minutes or so, maybe 3, then we'll flip it over. We don't want to overcook this, especially the sockeye salmon, because it doesn't have as much fat and it tends to dry out very easily. You also don't want to touch it or move the fish around, because you want it to sear up and hopefully build up a nice little crust. Okay, here's chef joke number 2. Who do you call when your cured salmon is stuck in the freezer? The locksmith. All right, it's been about 2 minutes. Let's have a look. It's getting a nice golden brown. Beautiful. Look at that. Nice. Another 20 seconds or so, and I'm going to flip it over. You can see now, I'm pretty sure you can see how the fish is changing to an opaque color. All right, I'm going to turn these over. Notice how the color change is up about at least 1/3 of the way up to the thickness of the salmon. Now once we turn it over, then we're going to cook it again for another 2 minutes or so. And if things get crazy with the splatter, you can put on a splatter guard like I have here. Okay, it's been 3 minutes on the second side, almost 3.5. Let's check our temperature. You want it somewhere between 125, 120 at least. And so we're at 120 on the king salmon and going up. It's going to cook a little bit more as it cools. This one's definitely hot. We better take that one off. This is our sockeye. I'm going to place that on the plate. And I'm going to take this off too. It just depends on how done you like your salmon. Some people don't like it, you know, on the rare side. I don't have a problem. I'm going to cover it, lay a piece of foil over the top, and just let it sit there for a minute while I make my sauce, and we'll serve this up. Now I turned the temperature down to low on this because it's pretty hot right now. So I'm going to add the butter to the pan. And I might add a little bit more just depending on how much sauce I want to make. I don't want this butter to burn, so I'm going to take it off the heat for just a bit. Do that anytime, you know, something looks a little too hot, take it off the flame. I'm going to start adding some garlic to that. Give that a little stir. My pan is still pretty hot, so I don't need to put it back on the flame yet. I'm just going to let that go while I add the zest from my organic lemon. It's always best to zest first. Makes it easier. Then I'm going to take my lemon that I just zested and I'm going to squeeze it right into my butter. We're going to juice the whole lemon here. Now I'm going to return this to the heat. All right, so back on the heat we go, and I'll just give this a stir, and I'm going to add just a little more butter because I want a little bit more sauce. So I'm going to put not much more in there, let that melt, add a little parsley, and we're good to go. This is so yummy. Okay, now that our sauce is done, we're going to add the salmon back to the dish. And I'm just going to spoon a little bit of this sauce right over the top. Make sure the fish is nice and warm again. This is on low heat, remember. And once that sits in there for a minute or two, I'm going to plate it up. This smells amazing. If you love garlic, you're going to love this recipe. Here's my mashed potatoes. Put them on the plate. Place this salmon right on top of those potatoes. This is like going out to a restaurant. We gotta have some of that sauce right over the top of this onto those potatoes. Garnish with a little bit of parsley, and you got a magnificent meal here. Man, that is good. You guys got to try this. So delicious. Mashed potatoes are the way to go. Or mashed cauliflower rice would work too. Man, that's good. Taste the garlic, taste the lemon, taste the butter. If you love salmon recipes, you got to try my salmon pesto pasta recipe. It's quick to put together any night of the week. It's got beans in it, and then we're using Bonza pasta to keep the carbs lower. You're going to love it. It's quick and easy. Check it out. I'll leave a link for you down in the description or right here on the screen. And I want to thank you all for stopping in today and sharing time with me and watching my video. Thank you again. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button for me if you enjoyed this video, and leave me a comment. All right, we'll see you next time.